Okay, so these are the teams that I think have the best start to the season, and I think apart from United and City, I think you should be looking at these teams to get the best budget options. And I'm going to be going over who the best players from these teams are. Okay, so these are the players that I've picked out from Middlesbrough that I think are the best ones to go for. I feel like Valdez and Negredo are two good signings they've made. Only problem with Valdez is I'm not going to try and pronounce the other goalie's name, but I'm not sure if he'll be starting over him because he is a good goalie. These two defenders, I think, are probably the best two to go for. See, I've gone for Friend. I think Anna is good in the air, but Friend, I think he's pretty decent. I think he's a fullback, so I think he should be getting more assists in the midfield. I see I've gone for, I'm not going to try and pronounce his name over, as you see, he actually is in my team. And then Downing's obviously another good option, Premier League proven. Maybe you could say better than him, however, I think it's probably more worth taking the risk on him. So, yeah, these are the players that I'd recommend going for from Middlesbrough. If we look at Middlesbrough's fixtures, we can see first game they got Stoke at home, second game Sunderland away, third game West Brom away, then Crystal Palace at home, and then Everton away. So apart from Everton away, those are five good fixtures. Okay, so Sunderland's opening five games of the season is a tricky start to Man City, but it gets easier from then on with a home game against Middlesbrough, an away game against Southampton, home game against Everton, and away game against Spurs. I think Sunderland would be a safer choice than the Middlesbrough because they are more Premier League proven. But I do think there's only three players really worth going for. None of the midfielders really scored well last year, and I think none of them really scored well last year. None of them are really nailed on. I think in defence, um, without Sam Allardyce, you don't know if they're going to be as sturdy as they were now he's left. But they did keep all their clean sheets last season with Manone, so he did well once he came in, like halfway through the season. Van Aanholt did well as well, very attacking threat going forwards. There are some cheaper options in defence, but you're not too sure who's going to start. And up front, Defoe, he's a proven striker, and I think he's a very good option with those fixtures as well. So yeah, it's just you're not really too sure who's going to start for Sunderland, but I think Defoe should be nailed on, and Van Aanholt and Manone should be as well. Yeah, Crystal Palace is a team that do have good fixtures, but they were very inconsistent last year. They start off with a home game against West Brom, then a tricky away game at Spurs, and then home game against Bournemouth, away at Middlesbrough, home at Stoke. So overall, some good fixtures, but again, inconsistent and think the goalies, you don't know who's going to start. Okay, Speroni was injured a lot of last season, so McCarthy started. He didn't do too great, so then Hennessy came in. Hennessy did pretty decent last season, but he's um, gone up in price this year by zero point 0.5 mil. And they've also signed Mandanda, who's I guess a big name goalie, but again, that's three potential starters there: Speroni, Mandanda, and Hennessy, and it's I don't. You're not sure which one of them's going to start at this point, so I've not included any goalies in there, but you might want to keep an eye on their goalie situation. In defence, Soiree and Dan Soiree, because he's probably a nailed-on starter at 4.5. Not the best going forwards, but again, Palace are decent defensively, so he will get those points just for being in the team. Dan, bonus point magnet, but for 4.5, you could get the likes of Luke Shaw and Sagner and Cal Walker from bigger clubs. Delaney and Tompkins, the cheaper options to Dan, who will also want to partnering him in there. Not included them because I'm not sure which one's going to start, Tompkins or Delaney, two good players. Probably keep an eye on that for the first game of the season, see which one of them two starts for later on. In midfield, they do actually have a lot of good midfielders. So again, not sure which one's going to start. I think Kabai's nailed on, and Townsend will probably be nailed on from the start, seeing as they've just signed him. So they'll probably want to give him some game time at the start. Balassi might even play up front if because they're trying to sign a new striker. But if they can't get in a striker, Balassi may play up front. He may play out wide. You know. And obviously, Balassi again inconsistent, but with those good fixtures, if he could get some good form going, We know Balassi is a good form player. I've obviously got Townsend in my team because he had a very good end to last season. Okay, so the next team up is West Brom. Obviously, a very reliable team in FPL, especially since Tully Pulis has come in. Their first 5 games are Crystal Palace away, Everton at home, Middlesbrough at home, Portsmouth away, and West Ham at home. So, Everton home, West Ham at home, not the best fixtures, but I think anyone at home for West Brom really is a decent fixture. So those are 5 really good fixtures. Definitely defence and goalkeeper can definitely be started in all of those games. So, that's a good one to keep in mind. So the players who I think we could look at is Foster, obviously injured a lot last season, but, those games you can start him all the way through. Probably the only 4.5 goalie you can start all the way through. So if you are planning to wildcard game week 5, probably the best option. Defence, Brunt's in there. He's got an injury, but he's a midfielder listed as a defence because he did play fullback a lot last year. But I'm not sure if they're going to do that again next year because they do have a lot of defenders at that club. Macaulay, I think for a 4.5 centre back that can play all 5 of the games again, I think he's a good option. And then Dawson, if you can afford the extra for Dawson, he probably will be the better option to Macaulay because he will pick up more bonus points, guaranteed starter. Dawson was a great player in FPL last year. But yeah, if you need to budget your team to afford better players, Macaulay's also a good option. Fletcher in there, maybe not for a starter, but if you need a 5th midfielder, Fletcher's going to start every game, get that bonus point for clean sheets a lot as well. Not really many midfielders that I rate really there. I mean, they have just signed Phillips, so maybe he's one to keep an eye on. Up front, Rondon and Berahino, I mean, both decent options, definitely with the fixtures. Definitely could get goals, but I personally wouldn't take a risk on them. But they are, 6.5 mil each, not bad options. Okay, so Everton's first 5 games are Spurs at home, which is a tough game. Then West Brom away, Stoke at home, Sunderland away, Middlesbrough at home. So it's a good first 5 games, but I'm just going to read you the next 2, which is Bournemouth away and Crystal Palace at home. That's another 2 good games. And then after that, they have Man City at home. So that's an end to their good run of fixtures. But that's 6 really good fixtures in a row that they have. I know this video is only really focusing on the first 5, but that's a really good first 6 games they've got there, bar the first game. Then they got a great run of 6 games in a row. Okay, so the defence is good. Obviously, looking at those fixtures, I think defenders from Everton could be good. I've gone for Coleman and Baines. Obviously, those 2 very good fullbacks. I've gone for Stones at centre back because with Stones, Funes Mori, Jagielka's got a knock. Funes Mori actually scored better than Stones last year from fewer games. However, I do think Stones is a more guaranteed starter. Then there's obviously Jagielka and Funes Mori. I'd probably stay away from because we don't know which one's going to start alongside him. They have actually signed a new goalkeeper in Stecklenburg, but obviously he couldn't get a game at Southampton, which is strange because Ronald Koeman was the manager, so if he didn't play him at Southampton, but yet he's signed him at Everton, so that's strange. Obviously, Lukaku is the main one from this team, I think, because he scores very well in FPL, consistently, and with a six fixtures like that for a striker to have a run of 6 easy games like Lukaku, I think those 6 games Lukaku is going to be good. And then Barkley, bit of an inconsistent player, a bit like Lukaku really, but I think he is the most nailed on in midfield. I put Delafeu in there as well. Not too sure if he's going to start because with Delafeu, Lennon, and Mirallas, is that how you pronounce it? They have got 3 good wingers, so it's just down to which one Coleman prefers, really. Okay, so because Man United and Man City are both big clubs, I feel like these don't need explaining too much, so I'm going to do these both in the same segment. Man United's fixtures are Bournemouth away, Southampton at home, Hull away, Man City at home, Watford away. Man City's are Sunderland home, Stoke away, West Ham at home, Man United away, and Bournemouth at home. So, their only tough fixtures are themselves. Again, you might want to pick up the goalkeepers just because, De Gea and Hart, obviously big name goalies at big clubs, are going to keep a lot of clean sheets, and obviously there are players like Foster that you could get over them for the first 5 game weeks, but as the season goes on, these people will be more reliable, and if you don't get them in right away, then their price may go up. So you might want to try and get them in there so you can get a good team value early on. Again, Smalling and company both injured, but I think they should both be back for the start of the season, as far as I'm aware. Both get a lot of bonus points. Otamendi there as well, just because company didn't have the best season last season. Shaw, because I think if Shaw's got a full season and ahead of him, a lot of assists. Obviously, Aguero, you know, Ibrahimovic, bit more of a risk. Mkhitaryan and Martial and De Bruyne. Okay, I'm thinking of doing this kind of video again, maybe after the next five, like after game week 5 for the next 5 game weeks. So going up to game week 10, because that's when I plan to make my wild card. So if other people making it then as well, which I think a lot of people will wild card early on, I can then, give people, advice on who to go for again, like I've done with this video, if this video does well. I might even make it into a series where I do, one every 5 weeks to show like the players who've got the best fixtures. And the team that you're looking at in the background is a team that I was meant to go for. When I made this video, I decided, what, Fletcher will be a better option actually than what Watson, who I had in there before. So I have since then said if I am going to go for this team, I think Fletcher will be better than Watson. And also, I accidentally X'd off Martial instead of the other guy in my last FPL video. So I had 4 million in the bank. So if you guys are wondering, I was supposed to X off that this guy, however you say his name. That's who I was supposed to X off, but I accidentally X'd off Martial. So yeah, I was supposed to have him in there. So this is the team that I said I may switch to again. For those of you who didn't see my last video, this is the team that I'm thinking of going with so far. If you guys want to know why, then check my other FPL video. The link is in the description. And also check my Twitter for updates I'm thinking of making to my team before the season starts.